Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and I'm going to break down the Monday night loss to the Chargers, go over the 4 keys, and what I think went wrong during this game. Now let's get right to it.
The other team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
And I definitely agree with that, Al, but unfortunately that didn't really take place for the most part in this game, and that was probably one of the reasons why we did lose the game. Let's get to that first key to the game, and that was that matchup with Maxx Crosby against Storm Norton I talked about earlier in the preview. Brian Bulaga being out this game with a back injury, and I thought this was a great matchup that we could take advantage of. Unfortunately, I'm going to give this one a D. Maxx Crosby only ended up with 1 tackle, no sacks. And to be honest, the edge rushing game was not really there, especially with 2 big hitters, Yannick and Crosby. They only combined for 2 tackles, 1 pass deflect, and 3 quarterback hits. That's not going to get it done against a passing offense like this, especially with Justin Herbert. This guy has a very quick release, I would say almost Marino-like. And I understand that, but especially with this matchup, I expected much more from Mad Max. I will say this, though, there is a silver lining, and that is Darius Philon. I got to give him props. He ended up with 2 sacks. Now, this one, basically the guard gave it to him. He did like an Olay, just let him go right to Herbert. But he did earn that 2nd sack later on in the game. Very good overall, but again, not enough and not consistent, especially against a line like this where I thought we could take more advantage of it. Now, the second key to the game I had was to be stopping Keenan Allen or minimizing him, and I'm going to give this a B. He was targeted 11 times, 7 catches, but only 36 yards and kept out of the end zone. Now, I know Damon Arnett got hurt. Honestly, that's a whole nother subject on its own. It's like no big loss at this point. But they did put Amik Robertson in there. He did an admirable job against him. Keenan Allen is a Pro Bowl type possession receiver. I think we did a good job with that key overall. And as far as overall for the defense itself, I'm going to give it a C-. I was debating whether to go with a C or a C- here. Now, they did give up 28 total points. That's not acceptable to me. That's too many points to give up big picture wise. Now, I know they gave up 21 in the first half, and that's basically because the offense only got 1 first down in the first half. They were basically on the field most of the time. I get that, but still, I would have liked to have seen maybe a couple of those touchdowns turn into field goals. Like I said, I'm debating whether between a C and a C-. They did okay. They did not do great, and I really feel it's because we did not take advantage of this matchup and get enough pressure on Justin Herbert.
And I hear everyone say, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
And unfortunately, what we took was a nice ass whooping here, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And let's get right to the first key of the game, and that was the running game. I saw Josh Jacobs coming back, even if he's 100%, up against a run defense. The worst in the league, gave up 510 rushing yards over the first 3 games of the season. And, it is what it is. I got to give this an F. I mean, the running game only had 48 total yards, 18 total rushes. Now, I know part of that is Carr running for his life, 3 for 6. But still, it's under 3 yards per carry. And I'm not blaming Jacobs and Drake per se on them. Obviously, it's this offensive line. And to tell you the truth, this is the worst overall performance I've seen from our offensive line from a team standpoint in quite some time. Couldn't run the ball, couldn't really pass protect. People were coming in unabated, like Drew Tranquil, who was playing for Kenneth Murray, who was hurt. Making guys like Jerry Tillery, he got a sack. Like I said in the preview, this guy is a first-round bust, a nose tackle guy. Not very good on defensive end, 3-4 defensive end either. A backup, Christian Covington, got a sack. Graziano was getting in there. I think they just picked him up off the streets. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. This offensive line was an absolute joke. Okay, and it's going to tie into the second key as well, and that was Edwards and Renfro go off on this game, and they really didn't, but I'm going to give this grade a B- overall. Now, I know Edwards on the stat sheet only had 1 catch for 4 yards. Renfro got 6 for 45 and a touchdown, And also this awesome play, very heads up play on this little fake punt. The Chargers like to play little games. Throughout the whole game, they faked a field goal and punted instead, like little bullshit games, It was almost like they were toying with them, and I'll get to that in a minute as far as the coaching. But I think Renfro had a great game. It would be either between him and Darius Philon if you were going to give a game ball to this game. If you were to, they were probably the two best players on the field as far as the Raiders go. But back to this, we couldn't really pass block. We couldn't really get Waller and Ruggs going. They got a little bit, but not as much as they should have. And of course, that affected these weapons over here. They didn't really have to respect that. Overall, I'm going to give this offense a D-. Now, they only didn't get an F because they came out in the second half with the ball. We got the ball. They drove down the field and scored. The defense gave them the ball back again. They scored again and kind of made a game of it. But overall, if that didn't happen, that would have definitely been an F. They only got one fucking first down in the first half. I don't care if you're playing against the 85 Bears, the 2000 Ravens. You get one first down and a half is pathetic. And you know what? We've been talking about this for a while now. And it bottom line, it goes to one guy, and it's John Gruden. I warned against this in my preview that we couldn't play the same way we played against Miami in the first 3 weeks, where we sputter in the first half. And even John Gruden said in the post-game interview that, we took too many punches in the early rounds. And that I was feeling that way when I was watching the game. It's almost like Rocky. We're like a rope-a-dope. We get the crap beat out of us and then have to come back and win the game. So we can't do that, especially against good teams like the Chargers. And the Chargers are a good team. The Chargers are a good team. They had shitty coaching last year, and the coaching is better. So we have to look out for these guys. Now, John, I am sick and tired of you whining about bizarre locker rooms, game delays, weather in an indoor stadium. You know what? The Chargers had the same game delay. And I'm tired of seeing the same issues over and over week to week. That is ultimately on you, buddy boy, and it's too bad Al Davis isn't here to give you a good kick in the ass.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.